Hello everyone, welcome to the weekly Strength Club Q&A and form checks. I'm Mick Solomons, the developer of the Starting Strength app. And alongside with me, the whole crew's here. Starting Strength coach Chase Lindley.
What's up?
Sup Chase. And from Japan, Alex Koseri.
How's it going, everybody?
G'day Alex. And calling from, what ship are you in at the moment? Is it an X-Wing?
Yeah, I'm an X-Wing.
Yeah, calling from Tatooine, is that right? He's Wichita Falls Athletic Club coach Rusty Holcomb. G'day, Rusty.
Howdy, y'all.
All right. So quickly just wanted to talk about the form checks in the app. So if you've got the Starting Strength app, you'll probably notice that we have a form checks section where people have been submitting form checks. At the moment, we have about 60 to 70 in the queue besides the ones we're doing today. So if you're submitting a free form check, it's probably going to take us about 5 weeks to get around to it. So if you are, we're also doing priority form checks at the moment. So if you are, well, that didn't work. I was supposed to be showing the actual thing. So if you go to the app and click on the priority form check section, you can actually pay, and Alex will get back to you in a couple of days with a form check. So yeah, take a look at that, and yeah, if you're sort of in a rush to get a form check back to us, that's probably the quickest way to do it. And that's the end of the promo.
Alex, do you have an anime character on your T-shirt?
No, I did. Maybe I do.
He's full-blown Japanese, man.
I'm full-blown Japanese. You want to know how easy it got? I actually watched a rugby match yesterday.
Really?
It's Japan's national sport, isn't it? Is it just
was,
12 sumo wrestlers?
It was Sydney versus Melbourne is who it was. It was Sydney versus Melbourne.
In Japan?
And not in Japan. It was just on TV.
Oh,
but
right.
the rules made absolutely no sense. It was the weirdest game I've ever seen in my entire life. It was like once the ball got on the ground, some guy kicked it behind him. Like you couldn't hand it to people. You had to throw it sideways or kick it. It was horrible. Stick with American sports if you do. So tricky trick if you're watching.
Not a lot of helmets used in that sport either, fellas.
Everybody was jacked as hell, which I appreciate.
Yeah, they're all fucking huge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're massive.
Yeah, a lot of Pacific Islanders playing professionally as well, and those guys are huge. Even those guys that don't work out are all huge. I used to live next door to just a whole family of them, and they were all massive. Just not a single workout, not a single squat was performed. So,
I don't know what happened. I'm technically half Pacific Islander. Nothing.
Wait,
yeah.
Aren't you half Javanese or something? That's not. It's aren't you? Where's your half? It's Java, isn't it? Or
it says technically it's like technically the Indo-Polynesian Islands.
Right. Okay.
That's where we're coming from.
Yeah.
So I mean, all I got nothing. I got some abs. About it.
You
I
got
am
the
not
abs.
6'3" at 250, unfortunately.
Alrighty, let's rip into it, fellas. We've got a what went wrong video up first, which was submitted by my brother, who's been bitching at me to get these back on.
Oh, I think I've seen this. Is this the one where the bar breaks or bends over his back?
Spoiler alerts.
You'll find out.
Yeah.
So this guy's named Joe Sullivan. He's in a Facebook group where a bunch of online bodybuilders will talk about steroids. He's a great guy.
I do not understand why he did not just dump the fucking bar.
Commitment,
Like,
man.
you can.
He wants to beat that bar. Like he
guess.
broke the bar. Like he won this encounter.
This is why you don't buy Chinese-made bars.
No. I would go to that manufacturer. I would fucking load up that piece of shit in my car, and I'd literally fucking boomerang throw this piece of shit at someone's head.
Chase, have you bent any barbells in your day?
He's
Yeah,
bending all of them up in Houston.
Well, okay, granted, hear me out. One I bent, it wasn't bad, but we were doing rack pulls, and I needed to do rack pulls, and I was like, hey guys, is it okay if I use a straight bar? I'm like, I'm gonna set this down as gingerly as I can.
Yeah, right.
Like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, and in the back of my mind, I already know like that's impossible. Like this
You're
thing
gonna bend this bar.
Yeah, but it's just how bad am I gonna bend this?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm like doing like an RDL like 5-second eccentric on the way
Mhm.
down. Like it there's a little bit of a bend, but it's not bad. And then the next one, I bent an Ohio power bar. I had 640, and this was the time whenever I was trying to ramp up my squat, and I was doing a bunch of singles, and I had a bad problem with letting my chest cave coming up out of the bottom, and it rolled down the back of my head and just fucking bounced off the pins. Now we use it as a wicked rack pull bar.
Wait, so it went over your head?
Yeah, like that.
Wow.
And I've never lost a squat. Yeah, I mean, I literally just went like that.
I've never done that before.
Rusty, beware! You will scalp yourself if you do that. It will get caught on the man bun and pull all of it out.
David Booker said, I read a post from the gym owner, and apparently Joe visited a gym and intentionally chose to use a crummy bar on purpose for the Instagram. But it turned out different/worse than he thought.
Wow.
But I don't understand that logic. Why would he use a crummy bar for Instagram?
Because he knew that a lot of people would watch it like us.
Yeah, but he could have anticipated that it would completely bend around his back like that.
No, well, I think that's what David's saying in the comments. He said it turned out worse than he thought it would. Like, he didn't think it was going to be that bad. So,
I see.
Yeah.
But as a plug for Joe, he offers like 12-week generic programs for like $600. So someone got them, and I looked at it, and it is basically like if you just go to like bodybuilding.com, generic powerlifting, that it's just like tapered squat volume for a while, and then just a bunch of hammer curls every day, and you're like, all right, cool. Thanks for
That's not your program, is it, Alex? That sounds like your program.
It's one of those programs where they can just like put it on an Excel sheet and just send it to you like Barbell Medicine.
Ooh,
yes, yeah, it was
scandalous.
it wasn't coaching, but
Look at Rusty's like, ooh, what did I do?
Hey, Rusty, it's very nuanced. It's a nuance.
It's nuanced. Oh shit.
Catherine X in the comments. I want to be dragged across the floor by my hair whilst playing with myself.
Oh, okay.
I feel like that's one of my clients. I don't know which one of you that is, but it's probably one of you.
What kind of weird shit are you and your clients into, man?
Tricky Trick 696969. Woo, it's that time of the week, Tuesday with the boys. All right, Tricky Trick.
Whoop.
Jeff Riggins, let's go.
You gotta say it right. Let's go.
Let's go. Catherine X has sent us some kissy lips. All right. Thanks, Catherine. Let's whip into some form checks. Dan Tavern. Oops.
All right, who wants to take this?
It's yours, Chase.
I just got to rep 1, so if you guys are farther ahead.
Sweet. I think I'm farther ahead.
Yeah,
Dan, you need to bend your knees a little bit sooner. So going down, you're initiating it with just leaning over, which is good, but couple that with your knees bending as well. So you want your hips and knees to bend at the same time. And then stay tighter in that low back. Okay, so anticipate that bounce, hips and knees at the same time. Bar position, can't really tell with the other bar. But no, actually, it looks good. Just go a little bit deeper and probably widen out that stance, probably 2 more inches, man. Can I get in that 360 round view?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a very courteous cameraman there, so props to him for that.
It's a camera woman. I can see a reflection in the background. Camera woman, please. Or camera person.
Camera person.
Camera person.
Camera
Camera
them.
Damn, it's 2020.
Camera they. Camera they, Rusty.
Camera they. Camera she.
Camerator. But yeah, I'd agree with definitely widening out the stance. That'll probably solve some things. But I know for me, and I try to express this to a lot of people, the time when I have to focus on the brace the most is coming right out of the bottom. Because you can kind of get caught up in trying to catch that spring that you don't actually keep everything as tight as you should be. So over brace during that moment, and then I think it should be fine. I'd like to see a little bit more fighting for wrist control. It seems like you're giving it up more and more and more as the set goes on. But Chase nailed it.
Yep.
I concur.
Thanks, Dan. Keep videos coming. Comments. LN. I guess it's true women don't care about abs.
It's all about the neck and traps, man. The neck and traps are the new abs.
Triggy Trick 696969. Can you please talk about progressing NLP on one movement before another? E.g., squats are getting very taxing on NLP, but other movements are still progressing fine. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, so just because you're switching one lift, getting out of an NLP and maybe going to heavy, light, medium, doesn't mean you need to change all the lifts. So if you're coming to the end of your squat NLP, you can start going heavy, light, medium on that. But if everything else is still progressing on your LP, then just keep chugging along on that. You don't have to change the entire program. Change only the things you need to. That should fix that problem that you're having.
Yeah, so understand that there's a point of reasonable return on it. So let's say if you are just for some reason monstered the squat and it requires a lot of advanced work and just a significant amount of work through the week, it's going to start dipping into your training resources elsewhere. So if you decide like, oh, hey, you know what, I'm going to add 2 heavy sets on my Monday, but you're still planning on pulling a deadlift PR, you may have now interrupted that. So even though the lifts operate independently, you still have to remember that you're probably going to do them on one session. If you have the luxury to split it up into more sessions, that's probably easier for you. But try to keep everything in context with each other. It's pretty rare. I don't know about you guys. Chase, I'm not sure how your development is between like your press is the most advanced, where your squat is versus where your deadlift is. How do you go about planning those things?
It just kind of depends on the individual. We all kind of know that the presses or the upper body movements kind of stall out before anything else. And then the squat and the deadlift either follow suit, whereas like the deadlift kind of takes ahead of the resources that you need, or the squat. It kind of just depends. But I see this all the time with the upper body stuff is that the press, especially, that it has to go to more advanced programming a lot sooner than either the squat or the deadlift. So if your trouble though is having the squat, I start substituting one of those days in for a light day on your squat. That way your pulling frequency doesn't change, or the intensity doesn't change either.
Okay, good work, guys. Tricky Trick 696969. Can you also drag me by my hair after you're through with me, Catherine? Thanks. Good one, Tricky Trick. Next video we have Elle Noir.
I already started this one, guys, so I can take it.
She's got a fancy bar.
Oh, some context here. I checked in with Elle because we hadn't seen any of her videos in a few weeks. It seemed like she was getting some pretty bad shoulder and elbow tendinopathy going on from the low bar squat. She went to who was like a PT or someone who told her that the bench may be making her pecs tight, which may be causing it.
Yeah, that's
so. I tried to dissuade against that. I sent her some good articles on it. But yeah, so I recommended going high bar for a little bit, work through your shoulder and your elbow stuff, and then revisiting low bar.
Okay. Well, yeah, Alex, do you want to take this one since you've been working with her?
No, Rusty, I don't.
It's already given up hope on her.
Oh,
no, I'm kidding. Yeah, so you can see it kind of coming out of the bottom, especially with the bar path app, with it kind of shooting forward out of it. You're still going to be driving your hips out of any squat. So I love how they do this as a seminar. They'll show some really heavy front squats, some really heavy high bar squats. The hips have to move just kind of as an artifact of physics. No matter if you want them to or not, they're going to come up more first. Think about driving with your chest up through, and your hips will move just as much as they need to. If you hip drive a high bar squat, it's going to have the tendency to roll up, which can cause more problems for you. So think about trying to drive your shoulders back and up and into the bar. And then, just keep trying the low bar stuff during the warm-up, see if that works for you.
Agreed.
Okay.
I concur.
Concurrence. Mick, do you concur?
I concur.
3 for 3.
Yeah. Well, 4 from 4. Well, anyway. Thanks, Elle. Frangie 1600.
So you're like right against that wall, man. So the one thing that I would do is maybe turn the rack around, so you're don't have your face buried into the wall. That would probably be the first thing I would do. That might keep your chest up a little bit more because you're kind of looking straight down due to the fact that you're staring at that wall, which kind of curves your back. You need to get your chest up a little bit more. These aren't bad squats, if you ask me. I would definitely control your knees a little bit more. They're kind of sliding at the bottom, so you got to stop your knees, get them down to your toes, and then keep sitting back. I think a lot of it has to do with that wall being right in your face is why you're not wanting to bend over more. So I would turn your back or turn the rack around or pull the rack away from the wall so you can look out further and find something about 6 feet in front of you to stare at. These aren't bad squats, man. I would just control your knees and give yourself a little more space so you're not up against that wall.
Cool. Everyone okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like you're outside, so you'll probably have more than enough room. But back soft, bad. Short advice.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Frangie. Ivory Horse, who I believe is Tricky Trick 696969.
The man himself.
The man, the myth. Oh, God, he's just
Really good at this stuff.
I feel like he could have another blue plate on there, and he'd still be going the same speed.
Yeah, so when he's saying that his squats are getting hard, I don't know if I believe you, Tricky Trick.
Yeah, I don't at all. No. Not in the
I
least.
really don't know if I believe you.
To be fair, this might have been from about 4 weeks ago because just, the number of videos we're getting. So,
all right, so he's squatting 600 now.
Yeah, he's 600 kilos.
He's been adding blue plates every single time.
He's like, that's what the program calls for, right? 1 blue plate every time.
Does anyone want to take this?
Yeah, I mean, the only complaint I have about these is that I would like to see more of a reset at the top. You're popping in and out of them, which is a good indicator that these are still very sub-maximal for you. If you're planning on hitting a set of 20 and you're trying to use that to get it done faster, sure, that's cool. If you're trying to do heavy sets, you need to practice like they're going to be heavy. So pretend this has a few more blue plates on it, and then take a big brace in between each rep. So you're at the top, big inhale, reinforce your chest position, and then start the next rep. If you're getting a heavy set of 5 done in plus walk out, plus walk back in 19 seconds, man,
Yeah,
you're really moving through it.
Yeah, I deal with that with a lot of my kids and some of my adults when we're warming up. They just want to bang through the warm up as quick as possible. And I say the same thing. Treat the lightweights like you treat the heavyweights. So whenever you do get that heavyweight on your back, you're not trying to treat it like a lightweight and end up missing because you're trying to rush through it. So yeah, just take your time a little bit.
Yeah, man. What's that machine behind him? It looks like an upside down hack squat.
Yeah, it's like a leg press type thing, but it's upside down.
They're fun. They're very fun. If you ever get the chance to use one, I would recommend it.
Oh, Alex.
How do you stop it from just crushing you to death?
I'm sure there's safeties like on the bottom that prevent it from
Yeah, there's safeties on there. Yeah.
coming down all the way on you.
Comments. Tricky Trick, or Ivory Horse, is HLM literally 10 to 15% off for the Wednesday, but the Monday and Friday remains 3x5.
That's just a light day. So HLM is kind of just a branch term that we use for a structure in which the stress imparted is going from a pretty high stress to a relatively light stress to a relatively somewhere in between stress. So it's not like, oh, I'm doing HLM and it's a template you can buy for $49.99 on HLM.com. It's a term, just kind of a generic. So you'll see different variations of it all over the place. I know Andy Baker has a bunch of good stuff out there too. So That'd be a good place if you're trying to dig around on what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Eric Fagel, can you share those articles? I don't know what articles he's talking about. Did someone talk about articles before?
I think Alex
talked
about the tendinopathy.
Yeah.
Okay. Alex?
Okay. Yeah. Email me. My link is down in the description, and I'll send them to you.
Jay Russo, do you think it's a concern to have a deadlift that is just a little above the squat numbers during NLP? I am helping someone and their back just seems not to be stable enough to advance in the weights safely. Their squats have good depth. Their deadlift was taught using the 5-step method.
So you said his deadlift was above his squat?
Yeah, it's a little above the squats during NLP.
The deadlift, that's normal.
Yeah, it's okay to have a starting weight that's higher on the deadlift versus the squat, But the main issue here is that he needs to understand lower back extension and actually just extension and hole in his back, making sure that he can pull with a flat back.
Send us a video, Jay Russo, of your friend. That's probably the best way.
Yeah, anthropometry plays a big part of this too. I mean, like I've known a lot of guys who's like their arms, like at the top of their deadlift, it's like on top of, it's like above their dick. Like it's going to be a difficult pull for you. There are other people where their deadlift lockout, it's 4 inches above their knee. If you have to pull it another 7 inches, it's going to be different. So if you have short, little stubby arms, you know, maybe change your expectations.
Some it's like right below their dick and 3 or 4 inches above their knee. So
gotta watch out for those guys.
Those lucky showers. Eric Fagel. Oh, LN. Thanks, Alex, and concurs as always. Eric Fagel. Yes! Exclamation point. I don't know what that's in reference to. Mark S. Pound for pound, who is stronger, Chase or Bruce Lee? Bruce did 1,500 consecutive push-ups. Chase could press 3 Bruce Lees. Bruce Lee vertical jumps a fence. Chase runs through a fence.
Chase Lindley, by far.
I don't know, man.
So
pound for pound.
Pound for pound.
Listen, Bruce Lee could do 1,000,000 push-ups. That doesn't mean he's fucking strong.
I know,
So
but have
I've
you ever
read,
seen
like,
him play ping pong with those nunchucks?
That was pretty cool.
That was fake, Chase. That was so fake.
I know, but in my heart, it's real.
Can you play ping pong with a 45-pound plate?
I probably could.
Probably pretty well.
There's the next starting strength video for you, Rusty.
Yeah. We'll
I read so it's called like the Tao of Bruce Lee. Basically, like people who were close to him accumulated all of his notes. He was a very meticulous note taker. A lot of his training, pants on head retarded.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Like you'll read it and you'll be like, what on earth was this guy doing? And you're like, all right, man, whatever works. For having fun, fun.
I don't want this to be misconstrued. I like Bruce Lee, but a lot of stuff he did was blown up way, way more than what is actually true.
Yeah.
There's the legend and then there's the person, and the legend kind of took over everything.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, you're a racist. Is that what you're saying?
Always. I'm a white male. I'm a white cisgender male. Obviously racist.
All right. Let's keep going. Who we got next? Joakim Rice. I reckon I nailed it this time.
Yeah. I've been watching this one. Joakim, go ahead and follow the 5-step setup before you start deadlifting, okay? So learn the 5-step setup and do that. When you're pulling, your hips are super low and the bar is way towards your toes, okay? You need your hips high and back and that bar over the middle of your foot. If you do that, this pull will be a lot better. You'll be able to set your back a little bit harder. And you won't have to be going around your knees. So next time you set up, do the 5-step setup, okay? And then keep the bar over your midfoot. The bar does not roll whenever you set up. It stays exactly where it's at over the midfoot, and then you drive the feet straight down and drag the bar up your legs, okay? Don't push your knees forward to touch the bar. The bar should already be at your midfoot. So whenever you push your knees forward, it's exactly where it needs to be, and your shins are exactly where they're at.
Okay. Good on you, Joakim. Someone didn't re-rack their plates on the bench. That's
Hopefully he's just supersetting.
Yeah, maybe.
15s, man.
Yeah. Thanks, Joakim. We have Johnny FXI.
Are those like the Ursa shoes that I keep seeing from like Chris Duffin?
Are those actual shoes or are those socks?
They look like socks.
I can't tell.
They look like socks to me.
No, they have a shoe knot on them.
Do they? Oh, they do. Wow. Yeah.
They do too.
They're not lifters. I know that much.
No.
Yeah, Chris Duffin's into a bunch of weird walking stuff, man.
Yeah,
he posts some very high-level memes.
I think anyone who does barefoot lifting should actually have to walk through the car park of Wichita Falls Athletic Club with no shoes on. And if they can make it if they can make it all the way to the door, then it's okay to lift barefoot.
So Johnny, you need to lower these safety pins or these straps a little bit lower, man. You're hitting them every single time. and that's causing you to cut off your depth. You need to go about 3 inches lower and then set that low back. And then try not to take so much time in between each reps, man. Like you're psyching yourself out, you're huffing and puffing, and you're causing yourself to actually miss a rep due to just fatigue of the bar resting on your back. For your grip, try to get the hands a little bit lower and your elbows closer to your sides. And the bar, yeah, you failed on the last one because you're literally sitting there for like an hour underneath the barbell. You gotta hurry up and speed.
Yeah, I think another reason why everything that you said is spot on. I think another reason why he's failing is because he's basically resting that bar on the straps, and then that weight is taken off his back for a brief second, and then he's driving back into it. So he's not staying under tension the whole time. So all of his muscles are losing tension, which is also causing you to miss. So everything Chase said, but a big thing is you got to lower those straps. You're not supposed to use the straps to determine if you're hitting depth or not, which that's what I'm thinking you're doing, or you wouldn't intentionally be hitting them every single time. Yeah, you gotta feel for the depth and know it's there. So definitely lower those straps.
So I'm playing this with a sound. I think the reason he's taking so long is because he's talking. Yeah, so if you're talking to your cameraman, avoid talking during this.
Yeah.
So any time that you're just letting air out, just don't think about exhaling at all. Only think about inhaling to support that chest position. And then as another note, everything that they said, plus whenever you do figure out where depth is on your own, you're going to have to take some weight off. So don't just plan on another increase or plan on hitting this weight again with the very new style. So this is going to be a dramatic enough change where you'll probably have to take a few pounds off the bar to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's really dropping way forward of mid-foot. And it seems like the bar's rolling like way up his neck. Did you guys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has his elbows cranked up so fucking high.
Yeah.
I mean, it ends up being a high bar squat. Like you can see the bar's nearly on the back of his neck by the time he fails that set. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think each time he's sitting the straps, it's actually bumping it a little bit higher and higher. So
it could be. Yeah.
Right. I would definitely just deconstruct these and start from kind of square one and fix a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Read the book.
Read the book.
I like saying it just because it annoys people.
I know.
It's so fun to say. David Booker from before, is he saying he would like to see a bigger difference in the deadlift and squat?
He would like to see a bigger difference between the two?
Well, he's asking, is that what you guys were saying?
Like
they're going to even themselves out. Yeah. They're going to even themselves out. Whenever you're running LP, when everything starts to end, everything will be exactly where it needs to be as long as you're running it right. So don't worry about, my deadlift is only 10 pounds more than my squat. It should be 50 pounds more than my squat. Don't worry about that stuff. Just run the program. If the deadlift is flying off the floor, then add a few more pounds the next time. Instead of going a 5-pound jump, add a 10-pound jump. But I wouldn't get stuck on the whole numbers game about, well, my numbers need to be, my press needs to be this much and my squat needs to be this much away from that. Don't play that game. Just run the LP the way it's supposed to be ran. And if something is flying around super easy, like your deadlift, just instead of doing 5-pound jumps, maybe 10 or 15-pound jump. But I wouldn't worry about that so much. I don't know how the guys think about that, but I don't worry about it with my clients.
Yeah, I mean, even so, let's look at Ivory Horse, Turkey Trick, 669, for example. Like, he's on his LP, squatting 405 for 5 in under 19 seconds. The whole set probably took 15 seconds. Like some people will have to work for that for many years. Mm-hmm. So like if you're kind of caught up in this game of how much you should be doing, it's probably not going to be super fruitful for you.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, got some more comments. Aaron has posted INA or INA. Is that some kind of white supremacist code word or something?
I don't know.
Okay.
Not a clue.
All right. Jeff Riggins, only thing blown up about Bruce Lee was that epic lat spread.
He also weighed like 130 pounds, so, it's whatever.
Yeah. Tricky Trick 696969. My chest is small and weak compared to my other lifts. Is there a way to put some more effort into benching? Example, back off sets or bench on both sessions.
Keep training for more years.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, that and just you may have to up your frequency, right? So this kind of goes back to like, do you want to be a bigger presser or bencher? Pick one of them, and then you got to kind of tailor your program towards that. Like if you want your bench to go up and your chest to explode, then you got to do a bunch of benching, right? You got to pause bench, pin bench, and then do a bunch of accessory shit too.
Okay. Jay Russo at David Booker, exactly. That was my concern. Very good answer from the guys. Okay. No worries. Let's keep rolling along. KCACRYTZ. I'm not even going to try.
Rusty, this is exactly what Rip said about Hungarian people on the show last time.
Exactly what I was thinking
It's just
about.
a bunch of consonants. But it's pronounced Fred or something like
How
that.
is he always right?
It's pronounced
That
Chris.
son of a bitch.
Didn't Louis C.K., the reason he uses C.K. as his surname is because it's some weird Hungarian name and that is the actual pronunciation of it?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know either.
I don't know. He has
I know
an
he
interesting
leads.
history. He's technically Mexican as well.
Yeah, his dad's Mexican.
Fun fact, yeah.
Wow.
I think he was born in Mexico, which
Mhm.
means he can't be president.
Damn.
Yeah. And by today's standards, you can pretty much do anything and become president of the USA. You can do any kind of sex scandal. It's fine. You guys aren't touching that one. We were talking about it before we turned before we went
I'll
live.
talk about
Yeah.
it.
No, I'm watching it.
Fred.
These aren't bad. Your stance is way too wide though. You're really battling to get your knees out just because your feet are on the outside of your shoulders. Get your heels underneath your shoulders, and that'll be a lot easier to keep your knees out, and you won't be struggling with that so much. They're not bad. Your knees are stopping. You're sitting back. You're driving your hips out of the hole. I think you could drive a little bit more hip out of the hole, but these aren't bad. Bring your stance in. That's my biggest thing. I don't know if the guys are seeing something I'm not.
I'd still think about midfoot going down and actually shooting his ass back even more.
Yeah.
He's getting really forward into his knees. You can tell because I can see air underneath your heels with every rep that you do.
Yeah, and I'm also noticing that when he is coming up, I think he's shifting so hard to his back that his toes are coming up now. So, yeah, definitely work on the midfoot.
Yeah, it's like you want to have a squat suit on, but you don't have a squat suit on.
Yeah.
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 So I'm wondering if bringing his feet in will fix a lot of that stuff.
I think it will. I think that'll organize itself pretty well.
So Casey Kreitzer in the comments said that KCASCRYTZ is pronounced Casey.
What?
See, there you go. It's exactly what Rip said. A bunch of consonants, and then it's just pronounced like a normal name.
Yeah,
Is that insensitive?
It's amazing.
of me?
probably.
But apparently correct. So good job.
That's right.
Good job, WFAC crew, for ambassadors of the world.
Our old friend Mel Sitnik, a deadlift video. Hope you're watching, Mel.
Are you guys listening with sound, boys?
Yeah, I'm about to turn it on. Is it Rip?
Support the position of the
Yeah,
scapula.
put the sound on, guys.
And that's their job in the deadlift, not struggling. Yeah.
He's literally
I grew up,
talking
I'm
about
a novice
deadlift setup
female
while she's
advanced
deadlifting.
athlete. My son bought me
Excellent
the
job.
barbell prescription. I've been hard at work practicing my lift, so I won't be so
Oh,
easy
she's
to
listening
kill
to-
in the coming
Just
years.
listen to one of our Q&As.
Well, she's saying all the right stuff, isn't she? Yep.
Just a whole lot of Rip toe going on in there.
This is how I go to sleep at night, just with this.
Rip's white noise.
Yeah. All right, Mel's in the comments, guys.
Cool. Who wants to take
on.
it?
Pressure's on.
Mel, you're kind of rocking back into your heels a little bit too much. Feel the pressure more into like the balls of your feet or even in your toes. Get your ass down just a little bit lower, probably about an inch or so, enough to where you can feel the outer edge of your knee inside your elbow crease. I think you have your hips up a little bit too high, and that's causing you to kind of almost do a hitch at the top.
Yeah, her lower back's not set all the way. I think if she drops her hips just a little bit, she'll be able to set her back a little bit harder.
Yeah, I agree. You may actually be setting up a little bit too close to the bar,
Mm-hmm.
which is, keeping the hips very high. So,
Yeah.
I don't want to say ignore the 1 inch, but be a little bit more liberal with it. Go by the result to figure out your spacing, not by an actual, measurement for it. Because if you're thinking you're setting up an inch and this is what you're producing, set up a little farther back.
Yep.
Hey, I don't know if how long the lag is, but if she can answer this, is that one of those belts that's real narrow in the front and then expands in the back? If it is, I would think about getting just a 3-inch belt all the way around. These belts they don't offer the support a belt should, in my opinion. There's really no need for it to expand in the back. It doesn't really do anything for you. So I would try and find a belt that's 3 inches all the way around.
I'm sure she'll get back to us. By the way, Mel, we've got your press videos as well. We're gonna, if we got time, we'll squeeze them in at the end. Yeah. More comments. Jeff Riggins, I think they prefer low bar clearly, but if the high bar is the only option, then squatting is better than not squatting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have several people in my gym that I have high barring. It's just that they're extremely old and their shoulders are fucked up and they can't get into the low bar position yet. It just takes time.
It takes time, or it just won't happen at all. If there's bony impingement, it won't happen. And Rip says this all the time. You can squat or not squat. You want to squat, and if that's the only way you can squat, then that's the way you do it.
Yeah. So Melanie said she's got the lifters now, and she's going to get a better belt. So it's on the cards.
Okay. Good deal.
Excellent. Thanks, Mel. Next up, we have M. Huseman. Are they lifters? I don't think.
I can't.
I don't think.
Yeah, those
so-
are lifters.
Are they?
Yeah,
They
I was
look-
actually
I
gonna
haven't
say-
seen lifters with those tongues with
Yeah.
the big.
I reckon
So I was
they might
actually
be-
going to say, like, these are like the, I have several people at the gym that who have these, and they're like the Korean or the Japanese version of like the Adidas Powers. So like you see the tongue, there's actually like this weightlifter dude on it, and he's like, doing some like weird hand thing. And then kind of like in the inseam, like where his arch of his foot is, there's like this weird Japanese saying or something. It's kind of cool.
Huh.
These shoes are actually pretty badass. I like
Yeah,
these.
they're pretty cool.
I'm
I
gonna
like
try
them.
and get them as soon as possible.
Is there a strap
I'm
on
in the
them?
motherland.
Is there a strap? I can't. I think
Yeah,
there
there's
is.
a metatarsal strap.
Yeah, I was going to say, they look pretty cool.
All right, Huseman, lean over a little bit more, man.
I think you need to get your knees out more, and that will help. Yeah.
But other than that, man, this looks pretty good. Just kind of control that bounce, stay tighter in it, and kind of give yourself a little bit of a longer tempo going down because you're kind of slamming into your knees there.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would, if you can't figure out how to move the gaze down, play with your head angle, move the head down, and the lean will probably sort itself out. So if you don't have to change it, don't change it. But if you can't figure it out on your own, play with the head angle. But otherwise, that was pretty on point.
Yep. Yeah, good work, M. Huseman. Okay, a couple more comments. David Booker, taper belts are the worst.
Yeah, I hate them.
Yep. Melanie Sitnik, thanks guys, and everyone just needs to shut up and listen to Rip. Smiley face. Jeff Riggins, pistol carry of choice since I know y'all are in Texas.
Glock 17. If it's off
basically any 9mm.
Yeah. If it's off body, Glock 17. On body, I have a MMP Shield.
Man, what I've liked is my Walther PBQ.
Yeah.
I think it's fucking reliable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I like
That makes
the,
it sound like you've shot a lot of people, Chase. I appreciate that.
It's
It's reliable.
Houston, you just
Dirty streets.
it doesn't matter. Like, you could just be listening to your music in your car, and then you just pull up to a random red light, and then shit goes down. Gotta
It's
let them
on.
know.
I got like a super soaker. How does that rank in the? Is
that all you're allowed to carry?
Piss in it.
I think you even need a
put,
license for
piss in
that.
it, I think that'll be cool.
Yeah, if we're allowed to leave our house, we can take one of those. Alex?
I've actually only been shooting probably 3 or 4 times in my life.
Oh wow.
But yeah, pistols are fun. The last one I shot was actually I think I've shot the most is the SIG XD9, and that was fun. I did a lot of pistol tree drills with people who were like seasoned shooters, but just being more athletic and coordinated than them, I was better at it because they were just kind of old nerds. So that was a really cool feeling. Just being like just fast with handling. But yeah, I think whenever I get back to the States, I'm definitely gonna get a concealed carry and start it as a hobby. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's stupid not to. Things are just too weird here, or they really are.
Yep. Phonelope7. Look at y'all getting fancy with the mics. Chase even took the camera out from up his nose tonight.
Hell yeah.
I liked Shadow Chase when it was just right here. And it was just
It
completely
was like blackface Chase.
It was just literally his eyes, and it was just a dark shadow.
Yeah, that was pretty cool look.
I'm about to go all blackface in here.
Thomas Stavel. Hi, gents. Quick question. I'm coming out of a week-long bad cold. Feeling like I can't squat a barbell right now. Any suggestions on deloading? Thank you.
Take off like 20%, man, and just cram your face full of food. Because I know you probably lost 5 pounds or so. You got to make up for that loss in body weight and deload even more if you have to. Just kind of play it by feel. If 20% is still not enough, go down like 25, kind of do 5% increments on the way down. But I think you should be fine at like 20%.
Yeah, and your deload won't last long, man. Once you start feeling a little bit better, it'll start popping right back up.
Yeah. Yep. It depends a lot if you're 22, if you're 75, you know.
Yeah,
the duration.
Yeah,
of it.
and if it's COVID, you're fucked. Like you're dead.
You're a dead man.
It kills
instantly.
It kills millions every day. So
get your affairs in order now.
Yeah. Start injecting bleach. David Booker, Springfield XDM Compact 9mm is my EDC.
You know, the thing about it, I had a Springfield. I didn't have an XD. What is it? The XD, the S, the single stack one. I didn't have that one. I had a normal XD 9mm, and it just was not a reliable gun for me. It would jam almost every single magazine I'd throw through it. So I ended up getting rid of that, and I just became a Glock guy. And Glocks, they're bar none the most reliable pistol you can buy.
And that's how my Springfield. I think I had a Springfield St. Armory, like AR-15, and do that AR. And ARs are supposed to be reliable as fuck, but this one was kind of jammed. Same thing as like the handguns. I'm like, man, I don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
Jeff Riggins, fucking probably can't even get those guns in California, LOL. I have a Kimber Custom 2IN.45, whatever that means.
Yeah, if you live in one of those communist states that only allows like 6 rounds a magazine or 7 or whatever it is, just buy yourself a real good 1911. Can't go wrong with 1911.
Man, Rusty, Nick's series, A Californian's Guide to North America, cracking me up. Really great work.
I don't know about washing the cast iron with soap. I don't know about that.
You can. I bake in my cast irons. You can lightly rinse them with soap. I saw that.
Rip talked so much shit to me whenever I told him how I clean my cast iron. After I get done cooking, like I get as much shit out as I can with the normal rag, and then I heat it back up and get a wet rag and just scrub it real quick. I've not burned myself once. I'm not gonna burn myself, and it cleans it right off. I don't know why he's so.
Look, you don't touch the thing. Rip has instilled this to me whenever I first got mine. You don't touch it. You just clean it off, and you're good to go.
Yeah. Well, Rip is also a caveman, and so are you with like cast iron stomachs.
Very true.
Well, that's the reason they've probably got it. They've got cast iron stomachs. They've built up tolerance to all the bacteria and COVID and AIDS that are all over those. Benjamin Lacasse. I tested positive for COVID and got and the flu a week and a half ago, so I guess I'm dead.
Yeah. We're talking to a dead person right now.
All
How
right,
did he
Pete,
go?
brother.
Man,
R.I.P.
how's
Benjamin.
Yeah.
how's the underworld?
Good internet, apparently.
Actually, one of my clients did get COVID. He works in the healthcare system. He's like a 57-year-old guy. He was on his ass for probably like 2 weeks and lifted through it, and then he was fine.
Yeah.
So
People that weightlift aren't dying of COVID.
No.
They're not.
No. Matthew Joseph, I don't care what Rip says. I clean my cast iron with a wet paper towel while it's still warm. Hey,
See, that's what I do. That's what I do.
never burned myself.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yep. All right, there you go. Let's keep going with the vids. Is it Nico 84 who's next?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
These are pretty good. I would set your toe angle out a little bit more and get your knees out a tad bit more. Maybe sit your butt back a little bit more. You're going to have to bend over slightly more than you are. But I don't think these are bad squats at all.
Yeah, I really like these. I'd widen the stance up. It's a little bit too narrow for my taste. Toe angle out, and the rest should sort itself out. These were still pretty light for you, so keep chugging.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's Nico 84's girlfriend. Or maybe it's not, because I think we had Nico on.
Yeah, because we saw that rack last time.
Yeah, we had
Yeah. No, Nico's been on the show before, so I'm guessing this is his lady friend. Good work, Nico. Melanie Sitnik in the comments. The best is how to train if you're going to be a firefighter.
Oh, yeah.
That one was funny. Yeah.
Do you think starting strength will help me if I'm becoming a firefighter? No, it won't. Will not.
Okay. Jeff Rickens laughing my ass off the run up the stairs with the hot cast iron.
Mm-hmm.
Who we got next? We have
Petar.
Petar Velchev, thick thigh boy. We've had him on. It's been a while since we've had Petar on.
No, he lifts outside. I like that. That must be very comfy.
Yeah, I like it.
That's kind of a cool squat stand that he has too.
Mm-hmm.
I think Petar said he had an injury.
Who wants to take this?
Chase, you go for it. We'll see if we agree on this one.
So out of the bottom, you need to think about driving your chest and your hips. You're kind of getting good morning there. Other than that, you have a pretty solid squat here. Maybe you're getting a little bit forward on your toes, make sure, Pitar, that this area that you're squatting in is even. I don't know. I mean, it looks fairly even, but you may be pitching forward a little bit. But the main thing is just out of the bottom, you're almost going to have to think about driving your chest.
Yeah, I'm wondering if his chest is getting soft in the bottom, and that's why everything is rolling forward. You need to think about. So when I get under a heavy squat, one of my main things that I think about is keeping my chest up and my back tight. Even though I'm bending over, I'm still trying to squeeze my sternum to point up a little bit. And that normally fixes a lot of bar going forward on me. If I get rounded, if I lose my chest and I round out, I'm going to get forward on my toes. So I think you need to think about squeezing your chest up harder, getting your lats back and down as hard as you can, and think about that the entire time. Because you're obviously a pretty strong guy. So I would focus on that, keeping your hips back in the bottom and then driving them straight up. Don't scoop. Like Chase said, when your hips come up, your hips will drive your chest. They'll both come up together. There might be a little bit of a hip kick, and then everything comes up together. But I can't tell because of the plates, but I'm thinking you're losing your chest a little bit, and that's why you're getting forward.
To add to this, we'll see if you guys think this too. I think you should pull the toes in. I think they're a little bit too severe. So your knees are tracking inside of the toes on the way down, and then out of the bounce, they're coming in even more. So you're doing a good job of shoving them out. I think the toes are just out too much. I don't think the knees need to come out anymore. I think they're fine. I would pull the toes in a little bit, and then now that your foot will be a little bit longer from the side that we're looking at, you'll have an easier time kind of calibrating your balance. I've seen a lot of guys when they'll try a little bit too west side, a little bit knees too far out, a little toes too far out. it'll be hard to kind of rail it in right over midfoot, or at least keep your balance. So play with that, see if you like it.
Yeah. I'm looking at these over and over again. I'm kind of slowing them down, and I'm almost positive you're losing your chest on the way up because that bar kind of dips down and forward as you're driving your hips. So really focus on your chest. I think that your toes do need to come in a little bit more now. I'm looking at them. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense what Alex said, because every time that his knees pitch in, it's instantly jamming into his stomach, and that's making him drive his chest up out of the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. So Petter actually emailed me about this, and he said that's his third work set at 280 freedom units. Gym closures and bad rainy weather. He has to train outside in his backyard, has been screwing with his training, and he's having to miss a day here or there. So, yeah. He's from the Netherlands, too. So, there you go.
Damn.
Yep.
I have some guys who train outside. They have a squat rack outside too. They just get one of like the pop-up Coleman tents. I don't. You probably don't have Colemans in whatever crazy European country that is, but it's like if you're setting up like a barbecue at a park or something like that, it'll be like the fold-out, pop-out ones. They'll just put that over the rack. And, you got to deal with what you got to deal with.
Yep. Melanie Sitnik in the comments. Don't forget your helmet and a sock in your mouth. I think that's it. I don't know what.
What?
What does that mean?
Is that something to do with the firefighters, or
What did she mean by this?
I
I think
don't
it has
know.
to deal with the firefighters. Yeah, because group is saying for respiration, put a sock in your mouth to mimic the respirator.
Okay, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Wow. I mean, Melanie knows more about this stuff than we all do. So
I know, and I'm there. I'm there on every
work
single
there.
recording. I edit the shit, and she knows it better than I do. I just go on autopilot half the time.
yeah,
Though.
sounds like it. Yeah, that's what you want to say on a public live YouTube video. I'm sure Rick's watching every episode, by the way. So.
Oh yeah.
David Booker, he's talking about the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals and bans on high-capacity magazines. I don't think we really want to get into that, David. Anyway, and Nico, yeah.
The only guns we can talk about are these sick pythons.
Hey.
That's all we can talk about, man.
You're going to have a flex off?
Fucking dead now.
We have a
That's
flex
all we
off?
can talk about.
Just murder me.
Nico from before, he said, yeah, that's my girlfriend. Thanks for the feedback, guys. No worry, Nico. Bailey Parker, howdy, guys. Thoughts on creatine?
Man, it really doesn't do anything. You get plenty enough creatine just eating animal meats than actually taking it, like the supplement.
Yeah, if you're stuck in a hotel like I am, where you don't have access to animal products a lot, take creatine. If you're living a normal human lifestyle, you'll probably be eating red meat a few times a week. You're fine.
Yeah.
Tricky Trick 696969. Should we ever deload on NLP or have an extra day rest if you're feeling beat up?
No.
It's not allowed. It's illegal.
That's a big question.
Well, yeah.
It's
I mean,
nuanced.
it's a very nuanced question, but I mean, here's the thing. You're not going to feel great getting in the gym every time. And just because you don't feel great getting into the gym doesn't mean you should give yourself permission to miss the numbers that you've got set. So just try and hit the numbers you're going to hit. Now, yeah, there are occasions when it's like, oh shit, I'm missing, I'm legit feel like I'm beat up. I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm not eating enough. Maybe a deload is warranted, but generally, you'll be surprised at how your body can function, even if you're feeling kind of shitty.
Yeah, and just look at your recovery too. Like, are you sleeping enough? Are you eating enough before you can actually go into like these program changes?
Yeah.
Yep. David, David Booker's talking about Trump and judges and things, so we're not going to probably get into that.
Hey, man, chill out. This is about weightlifting, all right?
Well, we did say ask us anything, so I mean,
That's true.
wasn't really a question though. So anyway,
Yeah.
Melanie Sitnik, she says yes, the firefighters. So okay. And then David Booker said sorry, I think, for talking about politics. But it's all right, David. Don't worry about it, man.
You don't
Talk about arm training, delts, tries, buys, all of these. Excellent topics.
All of the above. Sully Wobbles.
Another amazing nickname from the Starting Strength app. That could
He
be
looks
his
very
legal
tall.
name.
He looks very tall.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be able to press in this little room, would he? Oh, maybe.
I don't think he's pressing.
Hell
this
no.
one.
Is he
No, I
pressing
mean
in
the
there?
clothesline would
No.
cut it off
Yeah.
anyway.
What's his name again? Sully. I think you're in your knees a little too much, man. You gotta stop your knees and sit your butt back a little bit more. You're almost in a high bar spot, so just in the bottom of the squat, you're almost high bar where your chest is up a little bit more. Set your knees and send your hips back. Bend over more than you want to. That wall behind you might get in your head that you're going to hit it with your butt, so be mindful of that. But you need to sit back a little bit more and stop your knees. Your knees are way over your toes in the bottom, so bend over a little more, send your hips back.
Yeah, I would say, honestly, use the wall as a cue. Think about reaching towards the wall. That'll probably be helpful for you, so you have another mental point to reference off of. Next, like we were talking about with Huseman a few times ago, you don't want to dive bomb into the descent completely. Not because there's something crazy is going to happen to you, but it's just going to be a little bit more inconsistent. It's harder to create or to replicate that over time. So even if you think about slowing it down 25%, you'll probably see a lot more consistency, and the squat will feel a little better.
Okie dokie. Thanks very much, Sully. T-Bonham 23.
This was the guy who was bouncing off his knees last week.
Oh, yeah.
Surprised his knees are okay. All right, so you're going to throw your hips way to the mirrors, like you're trying to crash the mirrors with your pelvis. And then as you shrug, try not to move the head forward. Think about making the biceps touch the ears. And just kind of really think of a cue that exaggerates your hips extending forward. Your wrists need to be a little bit more straight. And then as you progress, keep your elbows a little bit more forward of the barbell.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing with these is the elbows. You have them behind the bar, and generally anytime someone is pushing something heavy and the elbows are behind the bar, they're going to push it out. So get your elbows ahead of the bar.
Yep. Okay. Thanks very much, T-Bonham. Next we have... we'll do a couple more comments and then we'll get into Mel's press. Jeff Riggins needs more lateral raises. I think talking about...
Oh, those are on the menu tonight, Jeff Riggins.
What are you going to be using as a
and-
weight? Is this the black belt with your wife attached to it?
I have some resistance bands, and I just load my suitcases up.
Oh, no.
So normally I've been just doing like some 25-pound suitcases. I have my luggage scale, so I can micro-load my suitcases with clothing.
Nice.
So I got the luggage scale, I have the suitcase dumbbells in here, and I got some resistance bands. So
How are you supplementing squats?
I put my wife on my shoulders, and then
Uh-huh.
I have her wear a backpack, and I do sets of like normally 10 to 15 with pauses at the bottom.
Excellent.
Is that...
Yeah, and then
How are you doing? What was the running thing you were talking about before?
I'll like put so I'll put my judo belt around her waist, and then she'll try to like run away from it. She'll be like pushing into it, and then I'll row her back to me to get some back training in. Is what we'll do.
Is the belt actually
So-
locked to her permanently?
No, it's just looped around. It's just looped around. Like she's
It's
trying
not
to
a-
like.
Not a collar.
It's not a collar, no. It's just a rope, and it's just around her waist, and she's trying to like sprint in the other direction, and I just gotta get going. It actually feels pretty good. It's like a pretty solid seated cable row, is what we're replicating here.
Okay. Jeff Riggins. Mick, what language is the Starting Strength app developed in? I assume you're the coder, or am I mistaken? So it was developed in JavaScript. We use a platform called Accelerator, which is a cross-platform. Whoops, Rusty lost his mic.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a cross-platform, so we can develop for both Android and iOS. Yes, I was the original coder, and these days I have some other guys who do most of the code work. So yeah. Tricky Trick 696969. If I was going to do a novice powerlifting comp, how would I taper off for comp day? I don't think it's going to
you're a
matter.
novice.
Tricky trick.
Yeah, like,
you're going to win
you're
by a long
novice,
way. So don't worry about it.
True, like if you're like a novice and like you're like a month within your novice linear progression, you're literally gonna add 5 pounds every single time to your workout up until the meet. So you're gonna treat like if a meet's like on a Saturday, you're gonna come in Tuesday, squat, press, deadlift, Thursday, squat, bench, deadlift, adding 5 pounds to all that, and then on Saturday you're just gonna go out there and lift and do singles.
Yeah, Rip puts it really well in PPST. So depending on where you are in your progression, if you're still setting weekly PRs at the point of your meet, you can take some ballsier PRs out. That's probably it. Just treat that as the end of your week. So if you're at the point where you're attempting to take like monthly PRs, which for you likely will not happen for a significant period of time, like if your microcycle is 2.5 weeks, that's probably maybe 6, 7, 8 months out for you. So like just treat it like the end of your week.
Yep. And I'm just curious to know how much you're going to win this competition by. Tricky trick, because it's going to be a massacre. So
Yeah, if you do this, make sure your lifts are recorded and send them in.
definitely.
I don't know if you guys knew this. He's actually only 16.
What?
He's just
Bullshit.
he's just a well-muscled 16-year-old. No, but
Hey, Chase trained him before I did, but Kirk, he's a 15. I think he might be turning 16 pretty soon, but he is a monster. I mean, an absolute monster. I think he doubled 405 or tripled 405 not too long ago.
On a squat?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's pretty legit. Of course, his coaches are making him progressively weaker though. Like,
Yep.
he
football
came
coaches.
in and he was, his high school coaches. That's what they're good at, making people weak. But he was struggling with 390 just because he's got knee tendonitis now because they are overworking him. His chest is all beat up because they're making him clean way more weight than he needs to be cleaning. He can't do it effectively. So
Is there some like really poor school in Wichita Falls that doesn't have a strength coach that could just send their entire football team to Wichita Falls Athletic Club and just like turn them into a bunch of monsters?
What it
Chase
is
can
like,
explain this.
what I think it is that like I think people back in the day, like Rip kind of came to him and be like, look, y'all can work out here. Like I'll set up this program. So that way we can get teams in here and Wichita Falls can be this powerhouse. Doesn't matter what school it is, it's just freakishly good athletes. And then that whole entire dogma of high school coaches being like, well, fuck you. You've never been a coach before. You don't have a football team. So why am I going to listen to you? Mm-hmm. And then ever since then, it's just been, like for me, it was just random luck. I got in there and then a few other athletes, it's just been kind of random too. Or like the MSU program that we had a while back, it drew some people in, but high school kids, like I've seen a shit ton from my years of being there. They come in, and they usually leave. Like I stuck around. Kirk is going to be sticking around. Is Isaac still going?
Yeah, Isaac's in.
Yep,
yeah.
Isaac. So now we're seeing a little bit more and more people kind of shy away from all this high school bullshit because it's just, you've heard all the crazy stories too over the years of like, kids getting hurt because of the negligence that's happening in weight rooms and stuff like that. So now they're seeking more private training and stuff like that. And I mean, luckily, kids around in Wichita Falls have the biggest diamond in the rough with WFAC.
Yeah. It's very frustrating, coaching these kids because, you spend all summer and they are just progressively getting stronger. Every time they get in there, every week they're just stronger. And as soon as sports start, and, there's going to be a little bit of a downslope when sports start because training changes, right? You've trained all summer for the sport. Now it's time to do that sport. So weightlifting takes a kind of a back step. However, whenever high school coaches get involved, there's that big ego of, well, I'm the high school coach. I know what I'm doing. I watched these college kids do, a 5x10 front squat. So that's what we're doing now with zero context. So now every single week it's a 5x10 front squat. And all these kids just progressively start getting weaker as these coaches get a hold of them. And it's super frustrating to watch.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, I've watched a couple of those football documentaries, those college documentaries they have on Netflix where they follow the team and the coach around. And they get all these like what do they call them, the linesmen, those big dudes who kind of they're like 350 pounds, just they got these dudes like doing stair runs and running laps, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? These guys,
No,
they do 2
they need to
seconds
be
worth
focused.
of work, and then they do the next set. It's just
they're genetic freaks. They're monsters. I mean, they're just massive guys. They need to be thinking, well, let's get your squat up as high as humanly possible, so whenever you hit someone, you actually have all this strength behind it. They don't think this way, and they have the cream of the crop to get these kids these men as strong as possible, and they just don't do it. Every now and then there might be a strength conditioning coach that might have his shit together, but as so few and far between. It's frustrating. It really is.
I think one of the big problems is that, I was just coming out of this, and I had a lot of friends who were like graduates, assistants, and actually working in the S&C departments for University of Pittsburgh, D1 school, and it's almost like the staff who they're working with, they're still being trained so that they can go up and proliferate their career in college S&C. They're almost like really excited to do their job in a way that's detrimental. Where they're like, well, this week with our athletes, we're going to focus on power and speed development. And this week we're going to focus on hypertrophy. And then the next week we're going to taper into a strength block. And then they're almost like, oh, look at all these things that I have either just learned in my curriculum or just from like perusing Instagram. And we think this is where we should go on it. And then you'll see ripples of it, with like, even at the not sport level, where people are like, oh, you know what, I think I'm going to take some time to do like a hypertrophy block. And you're like, oh, how long have you been training for? And they're like, oh, about 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And it's like that same thing where they will get very overexcited by how complex things can eventually get, where it's like, hey, if you're working with an Olympic athlete and you have time to periodize out 2.5 years, maybe you can do that. But with these kids, it's actually a lot simpler than people think it is.
Well, and I think that's the big thing, keep it simple, and that's the thing that starting strength is really good at. It's a simple program. It's boring, but it fucking works. And then you have all these, strength and conditioning coaches that, went through all this school to learn everything. And then they come out and they're like, well, now I have to justify my job. And if, the head coach comes in and he sees the guys doing the exact same thing they were doing 3 weeks ago, he's going to be like, what are you doing? Why aren't they on a Bosu ball doing some, agility work or whatever? Whatever is sexy and in fashion at the time. Instead of doing what works, it's let's justify my job and put all this knowledge that I've gained and do that instead. I don't know. It's I have progressively been more and more frustrated with dealing with specifically high school coaches with my kids because
it's a tragedy.
Yeah, it is, because I'm so used to seeing them get really strong during the summer, and then I see them less and less and less when sports start, and then when they come in, it's just like we're starting from square one again. Those coaches actively have tried to make those kids as weak as possible.
Chase, how was your experience with your coaches?
Man, so I went to a small high school just outside of Wichita Falls, so where I was the strongest kid already going in there, and so they kind of left me alone. Like, I would kind of bullshit through their workouts that they had in their off-season program, which I learned from, the coaches up in Wichita Falls Athletic Club, is just a sandbag, right? So they make you max out before the off-season program starts. So what you do is, I was probably squatting 405 at the time, so I'm literally going to sandbag it to like 315 and just make it grindy as fuck, make your form look terrible. So that way it knows, like, the coaches seem to see that, okay, well, this kid's actually struggling and he's trying, because the main thing that they're looking for is just effort. And it's a good thing to kind of develop that through kids and stuff like that, because this is a camaraderie, this is, team sports and stuff. But the way they do it is fucking totally wrong, because they don't have the science and the knowledge that we do about programming and lifting. So what I had to do was literally just, pretend that I was way weaker than what I actually was, and then show out on the field or on the court, whatever sport I was doing. And then they realized, okay, well, he's here to play. He's actually a team member and stuff like that, instead of some just average kid and stuff like that.
Crazy.
Crazy. Well, Bernard Lowe. My wife is 5'4" and 107 pounds. She has stalled out at a 135 squat, 5 sets of 3 reps on NLP, and refuses to gain body weight. anything I can do for her besides premature intermediate programming?
How old is she? Did he say how old she was?
No, I didn't say.
Okay, that's still pretty great.
That's pretty damn impressive already.
5'4", 107. So like you'll be able to eke out neural gains for years. You know, like mature weightlifters, even at the same weight class, can get stronger time over time over time. It just, you know, you're gonna have to reframe your perspective. So try and make it not a numbers fetishist game. So the point of being like, hey, if she doesn't feel like gaining body weight and it's a kind of a lost cause to drive absolute weight, try hitting some other targets. You know, keep it fun, keep it interesting, and then maybe revisit the body weight thing later on. You know, so if you end up just having a few, like 100, 150 grams of protein a day, just have her keep training, the body weight thing may sort it out on her own, unless she's hyper accurately tracking around maintenance. You'll very likely see weight gain if she's just eating protein and training. You know, you may just have to reframe your perspective on if you're chasing numbers all the time or not. You know. So it seems like she's pretty new to training, so if she's still in the LP. So I think it'll sort itself out over time.
Yeah.
Yep. Or get yourself a new wife. That's the other option. All right. Can we quickly do Mel's press video to finish this off?
Let's do it.
All right. Sorry to keep you waiting, Mel. There's actually 2 videos here, so we'll just play number 1 first. What are you laughing at? Is the sound?
The first line is Rip saying he is the world's foremost authority on strength training.
Static.
I'll put on number 2 video as well. We already got through the first one.
So there's a few things that I would definitely fix. Your toe angle is super sharp. I bring your toe angle in a little bit, or maybe just leave your toes where they're at and bring your heels out and have a wider stance. That's the first thing I would do. You're also kind of resting that bar on your chest and kind of doing more of a strict press. I would, even doing a strict press, I would still float that bar under my chin. So I would keep my head looking straight ahead, get your elbows up, and get that bar right underneath your chin. Don't press off your chest. The guys might have something different to say about that, but that would be the first thing. If I was there and I was coaching you, that would probably be one of the first things I would fix. I would get that bar a little bit higher under your chin too. Other than that, these are pretty decent strict presses. Elbows need to stay forward a little bit longer. They're kind of flaring out as soon as you start the press. So keep that elbow forward and then drive up. They're going to have to externally rotate at the top when you shrug, but keep your elbows pointed forward as you come up.
Yeah, it looks like she's trying to do the hip movement, but
yeah.
Like if you look on the second video, she's already leaned back and she's already forward with her hips. Start in the neutral position instead of throwing your shoulders back, right? So that's not what you need to do. You don't need to lay back, essentially.
Yeah.
You just need to think about actually throwing like your quads forward and hitting the wall in front of you.
Yeah.
Everything else, what Rusty said.
What Chase said was really insightful that a lot of people don't really pick up on, is that, you know, like Rusty, you'll say this with staging the hips in the squat. The person's going to be like, oh, I need to set my hips back, so they should be somewhere near there. Or people need to think, I'm going to have to lay back in this or shove my hips forward, and they'll try and do it before the press even starts.
Yeah.
You know? So what Chase said, when you're starting a neutral, it's giving you the best possible setup to then slam the hips forward. So it's a gem.
You're trying to skip that step. You're trying to you're skipping the hip step and you're putting the hips out forward. So work on floating that bar under your chin. Stand more straight up and neutral. When you hips push forward, you can bounce that bar and then drive past your face. Explode. It needs to explode off the shoulders, drive it past your face, and all this weight will be so much easier if you just get a little more hip involvement and hold the bar higher so it has somewhere to bounce.
Yeah, she's saying she struggles with the hip movement.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why, because you're already starting leaning back. Chase, Elise was getting into this habit where she was starting back already, the same thing that she's doing. And as soon as I told her, stand more forward, all of a sudden her presses just started going up again. So Yeah. So yeah, this like Alex said, it's a common problem where people just want to lean back. They want to get their head out of the way so they can just push straight past it. But a part of the hips going forward will get your head out of the way on top of getting a good bounce out of the bar.
Okay. And Melanie said she highly appreciates all of your feedback, fellas. That was Melanie. A couple more comments and then we'll end this. Bernard Lowe from before said his wife is 24. And he says, we got tattoo wedding rings, so I'm stuck with her now.
No, you aren't.
Shit,
I'm
you fucked
sorry
up.
to break this to you. I worked in a tattoo shop for 5 years. That doesn't mean anything.
Bernard, you're gonna have to Yakuza off the finger if you get divorced. Just chop the thing off. But yeah, if you guys are young, I'll see this with. I mean, I work with a lot of weight class athletes with grapplers, but I'll see it with literally every one of my female clients about weight gain being something that's like hesitant, even for guys who are stuck with weight class sports. Like, it will sort itself over time. Just make sure she's ticking the protein box. So just make sure whatever, like the fridge that you have is just stocked with protein shakes, stocked with protein heavy food. Protein seeking behavior will continue as you're training, and you likely will be unable to avoid weight gain. So if she's like meticulously tracking macros and micros and is at maintenance, you can either pull activity down or just push calories up and kind of encourage and endorse that behavior. Don't make it seem creepy. You're like, oh, sweetie, I need you to gain 2 pounds this month. Keep it organic and just be encouraging. Doing work over time will probably solve the issue. So,
yeah. Listen, you can't force her to gain weight, right? And it would be, quite frankly, it'd be wrong for you to try to like hound her about it. Let her make her decision. Like Alex said, it'll sort itself out. When she really wants to get stronger and she sees another pound or two on the scale, but she sees that her squat went up, 10, 15, then it won't be that big of an issue.
Cool. All right. Well, let's finish it there. Thanks a lot, guys. Alex, where can people find you online?
We'll throw a link in the description. I'm active on the Starting Strength subreddit, actively arguing with people over programming. So if that sounds like you, send me an email.
Yep. Chase, where can people find you?
Instagram, Chase Lindley.
Instagram, Chase Lindley. And Rusty?
Mine is Rust_strength_training on Instagram.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot for your time, fellas.
On Instagram is actually in the handle.
Underscore on
Instagram.
One day I'll change it to something that isn't so stupid.
All right. Thanks a lot, fellas. We'll catch you next week.
Absolutely.
Later,
See you,
guys.
boys.
See y'all.